Previously on Legends of Aelos, we return to Rowan and Arel as they stand at a cross-section within the aqueducts beneath the rings, listening to the sounds of an encroaching horde approaching them from the darkness. With little time to act, Rowan attempts to secure the gate between them and the horde by bending a bolt through the gate where a lock would typically go. But as Rowan is attempting to bend the bolt with enough force to secure the gate, they hear heavy, plodding footsteps approach from behind, and a tall man in a top hat steps in. He replaces the bolt with a large rod, which he then proceeds to bend into a secure enough fashion to hold the horde back, for now. Rowan and Arel proceed to introduce themselves to the strange fellow, whom returns the courtesy as he identifies himself as Mr. Peter Silence. Mr. Silence conveys himself as a confident and driven individual, though as conversation progresses, Rowan and Arel find it difficult to determine just where he aligns, as he seems to be driven by his own ambitions, and despite his prior actions, his professions are alluding to a faded grandeur for himself, implying that any allegiances with him are with him and his vision of ascension, even if ultimately at the cost of cities' inhabitants. His logic hinges on a prophecy that he will become the king of all Telvernia, or perhaps even Aelos, the crux of his argument hinging upon an old prophetical saying and a very specific line which happens to be omitted from proper texts containing this prophecy. As the conversation continues, it becomes more and more apparent that Mr. Silence's motivations are not to be swayed, and that his goals may not be as aligned with Rowan and Arel's goals as initially anticipated. Elsewhere, the remainder of the party is still outside of Amansar's, Dominicus standing in the doorway monitoring Amansar before he ventures to Karun to report his observations. He conveys that Amansar has been taking small portions of his concoction and administering it to an urn of unknown contents. Karun theorizes potential methods that Amansar could be employing, nefarious or otherwise, but cannot concretely say what it is he is attempting or performing. Lacking sufficient enough evidence, Karun advises his friend to maintain his diligence and to note anything else that might come off as suspicious. Amansar wraps up for the evening and starts to retire. As guards who have been lighting the lamplights approach the party, they inquire as to why they are outside and not indoors. Unfortunately, between Asher's statements of guarding the establishment and Amansar not outing them as the perpetrators of the door having been kicked in the first place, the guards leave the group with a simple word to remain cautious and safe. Somehow, amongst all this, Ace provides to be a particularly deft barbarian and pickpockets a small vial of what Amansar had been working with off of him. As he is bidding Amansar good night, Dominicus presents the vial to Karun and relays that Amansar had been applying this to the urn and literally listening for some sort of result or effect. Karun is able to identify the substance appears to be a potion of preserved life, but he cannot discern what its purpose might be in finding a cure, not without more information. After returning the vial, or at least making it look as though it wasn't pilfered, the group settles down to rest for the evening. Unfortunately, those currently under the affliction do not have a restful sleep, and awaken exhausted as the cursed disease continues to ravage their bodies, not to mention those also dealing with the spore exposure from underneath the apothecary's establishment. Asher heads off to inform his wife and the others back at the tavern of current developments, though is warned to keep an eye out for Vildriel and his Neramine companions. He makes it back, but is concerned that something might have happened during the party's absence. While this turns out to be true, fortunately what transpired is that Vildriel and his cohorts discovered they were no match for Siora, who now has a lot of them bound and gagged within the main room of the tavern. Though some, such as Zagia, are flustered, Asher is relieved to discover that his wife and the others remain unharmed, thanks yet again to the skill and prowess of one of Briar's parents. Coming back to when Arel and Rowan are conversing with Mr. Silence, the discourse grows more tense, as Rowan and Peter clash in position and opinion. Rowan standing his ground firmly, whilst still trying to sway, disarm, even potentially convince Mr. Silence that his motivations are selfish. Alas, Rowan is firmly driven to attempt to resolve the situation at hand and save the city, while Peter Silence is equally driven to build his kingdom upon the ashes of what once was. And so, Rowan leaves him and his croonies to see what Arel and he might still be able to accomplish without their aid. As the two continue on towards the exit to the surface, they hear the quiet echo of a distant bell, as if ringing to toll the calamity encroaching upon the rings. When the two breach the surface from the aqueducts, they find themselves in a bathhouse and are able to secure clothing less telling from whence they came. They make their way to the Order of Heroes to seek their aid in rescuing the town, as well as their friends. If not particularly warmly, Rowan and Arel are in fact welcomed into the Order's establishment, though garnishing appropriate attention proves to be difficult at first. Rowan's stern insistence does secure the ear of a female elf that holds some authority, and Rowan informs them of what they had more recently discovered after having spoken with Amansar. The elf, Ida, also informs Rowan of what had happened to Amansar, and how he lost his daughter, which could align Amansar still seeking only his own goals. Unsuspectingly to both Rowan and Arel, Aiden Nystirian himself actually makes a presentation, and not only does he present himself, he comes over and introduces himself to both Rowan and Arel. Now, the two of them speaking with the head of the Order himself, Rowan conveys what information he has again, and Aiden relays that they have dedicated much resource to research and discovery towards the plague, both in medicine and arcana. But he still gives gratitude to whatever information that Rowan can provide. Before leaving, they inform them of Mr. Silence and his motivations before they set off to inform the rest of the town guard as well. Not long after, the two happen upon a suspicious guard breaking a lock and attempting to scale the walls away whilst discarding the guard uniform he was wearing. Rowan and Arel subdue him and attempt to interrogate. But then, suddenly, another bell tolls, not high and quiet, but deep and loud, almost as if a cathedral bell. And not moments after this, the infected are almost upon the group from the gateway that the imposter guard had unlocked. Rowan quickly is able to fashion the imposter's belt into a tie-off to keep the gate shut, but Rowan and Arel still must flee, as one of the infected intelligently reaches through the gate and proceeds to undo the knot. Back at the apothecary, time is apparently growing short for Karun and Dominicus, and they plead with Amansar that they assist. Tempers flare, and Karun even offers himself to be a test subject, provided it speeds the process to a cure. However, a commotion is noticed taking place over by the portcullis separating the hands from the rings. Briar, from her high-top perch, observes people racing towards the closed gate. Not infected people, but frantic nonetheless. As she approaches, she observes another group behind the first, more frantic, more erratic, decidedly more infected. Upon realizing that this second group are in fact infected, Briar struggles to determine what she can do to assist as she realizes that she cannot open the gate, lest she put everyone on this side at risk. Dominicus arrives as a woman on the other side proceeds to extend her baby through one of the holes in the portcullis and pleads that they take her child. Briar, realizing that she can do just a bit more, grabs the child and then casts Levitate. She directs the woman to pretend as if she is scaling up the side of the gate. Eventually, she makes it to the top and is rescued by a guard on the parapet as the last of the doomed individuals succumb to the onslaught of the infected. Once it is only the plague-ridden that remain on the other side of the gate, the infected reach out towards Briar, Dominicus, and the others on the opposing side, snarling, gnashing, pleading for the others to help them as they claw at their potential next victims. And it is from here we shall continue the story of the Legends of Aelos.
Welcome back. We return to the party at the gate. The last of the civilians from the Rings district fallen on the other side, and the infected giving up on their attempts at trying to get over. They kind of calm down as much as they can while there's still this rapid, intense breathing over the piles of bodies of the citizens. And they just you see as they begin to turn back the way they came, stepping over the bodies that they've just created. The woman from up on the battlements that Briar had managed to levitate and save kind of leans over and makes eye contact with you. Thank you.
Briar's just going to motion to her to come down and gesture to take her freaking kid.
She kind of like looks around the battlements, trying to find a way down, and then kind of looks to one of the guards, and the guard kind of points to the opposite end of the battlements, away from the gate. Evidently a way to get down. You see as the last of the infected leave the bridge, kind of many of them. There's probably somewhere in the range of 40 to 50 citizens now dead, piled up at the gate, and maybe equally the same number of infected that were attacking them.
Are the dead bodies that are there, the freshly ones, are they coming back to life, or are they?
There's no movement at the moment.
Ace, I think we should go meet the lady and give her her kid, and then you're a liability out here. We need to get back to Amansar.
The guards kind of look around at each other, kind of almost disgusted themselves, just seeing the grisly sight of so many dead and just this helpless, unarmed battlefield. Some of them almost kind of leaned up against the fence, the gate, just kind of lifeless, halfway, extremities reaching through. They were reaching for aid. And lots of blood. You hear, in a moment, kind of commotion of several other civilians from within the Hands district, kind of coming to kind of see the chaos that has ensued. Several different people from different households, and the guards kind of like, no, just back up. And another figure kind of approaches, kind of waddles over with his mace and top hat and duster. The dark-skinned figure with little bit of a beard. And kind of saunters over with a couple other kind of armed men. She's fucking tragic, isn't it? Just absolute massacre. It's terrible. And he kind of comes over and pats one of the guards on the shoulder. Kind of eyeballs you guys who are kind of at the gate here. Bloody tragedy, it?
Yeah. Wish there was something that could have been done.
It's a shame, it? It's a shame. And he kind of motions over a couple of his guys, and they kind of bring over this ladder and place it up on the battlements, and he kind of squeezes the guard's shoulder, and the guard kind of nods at him. He kind of makes his way up the ladder on top of the battlements. Kind of see him just kind of peer out over the Rings district. Kind of stares at the city. Well then. And now we are going to cut to Rowan and RL. Rowan and RL. Currently booking it. A horde. From what you could tell while you were at least watching, maybe 15 to 20 that you could see. A quick estimate of how many were chasing after you. And you and RL run as fast as you can down the street, and then ideas start running in your head. It's how you could get away safely. So we are going to do a skill test, and you're going to tell me what you're doing to not get killed right now.
Okay. All right. Well, Rowan is going to be running as fast as he can. He's going to have his flame tongue and out. But he's going to keep one hand free. So he's going to have his family blade sheath, and he's going to have the other one with the flame tongue out, ignited.
Okay.
And he's just going to be running as fast as he can. If he feels one's coming close, he's going to try to dodge or, just leap ahead, just kind of keeping a distance between them. If possible, to see like stacked barrels with his free hand, kind of like drop them behind him to kind of slow them down a little bit as they're walking.
What kind of check are you going to make for that? What kind of skill check?
I guess athletics, athletics would probably make sense.
So roll your first athletics check. RL in the same light is going to attempt the same thing. We're just looking for successes and failures here. DC
22.
changes depending on what we are attempting here.
Okay.
What did you say it was?
22.
22, you kind of, as you're running by, kind of smack a few barrels, and they kind of roll into the street. You can kind of hear several of them toppling over. The horde is still upon you.
I'm trying to think.
Roll me a dexterity saving throw.
19.
Good. You feel them encroaching pretty close behind you. Any kind of wrong move, and they would be upon you. RL kind of keeping pace just ahead of you. What are you doing for your next check?
Just gonna make sure that I'm trying to keep up with RL and RL with me. Just sprinting, and again, just still kind of, again, keeping them at a distance. I don't want them ankle biting me on the way. Don't want to waste time trying to climb something because they could climb too.
Okay.
Just booking it hightail to the Order of Heroes.
What's your check?
I would also like. I mean, athletics would probably be it, but I just
You
want
can't do an athletics again.
Acrobatics.
You could do acrobatics, but tell me what you're doing. No pressure.
I mean,
it's hard.
It's
hard.
I mean, unless I can do a fancy cartwheel. Like, I'm just running. I'm just kind of running.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of hard. I mean, I can try to, you know, is there, from when we were running, is there like a gap of any sort, like a wash or anything that, you know, that maybe like 5 feet, 6 feet across, like distance between where I can just jump across?
Yeah.
To kind of
like a different kind of like fruit stall or
kinda
something, or stand something, just kind of put something in between you them. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Give me an acrobatics check for that.
I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm running through the alleyways. I don't know how much. That's okay. I'm 17 plus acrobatics, so that's a 23.
Okay. It kind of catches RL off guard a little bit, and he hesitates for a moment, thinking he's going to do something similar, and kind of slows down. You end up a little bit ahead of him. He failed his check. So, other things you can do is say, like, looking at the different checks, like saying how it would help. So like, I'm thinking of where I could go or something like that. So I could do some kind of like survival check or something like that, or like some place that you could, you know, eventually not be running from them directly.
Okay. Can I do as I'm running a performance check?
Okay, 4.
I want to start yelling. Am I like in an area where people like am I within like the middle of the town where Townsguard can possibly hear me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna again still be booking it and still kind of maneuvering around, but I'm gonna shout to them and say, "They're in! They're in!" Just kind of take arms! It's just, and just kind of running and
yeah.
That's my performance
Roll.
check to see if they can hear me. That's a 16.
Okay. Well. Oof. I rolled a natural 1 on his acrobatics check.
Does Ron see this?
Just as you're kind of yelling, shouting around, you do hear a couple crates kind of stumble and fall down as he attempted to grab onto a gutter by leaping off of some barrels, but the barrels kind of gave way underneath his feet. He kind of tumbles a little bit. Okay.
Can I run back and try to like grab him by his collar and just kind of yank him and keep him running? Just like a quick little like.
Yeah, let's make that a check of some sort.
I would say that's an athletics. I know that's decent.
We can do athletics again. Go ahead.
Okay, that's a 17.
17. Okay.
It's getting, my rolls are getting lower. And it's getting
lower and lower, and the DC is getting higher and higher. You managed to pick him up, but one of the infected throws the barrels away and grabs onto his collar as well. And you guys are both kind of running. This is going to be on a roll for me. He has to fight a grapple. So I'll let you give him advantage on that.
Can I give him an advantage because I'm right there with the sword?
Okay.
Oh no.
You see, as you grab him by the collar, this other one grabs him kind of on the back. He kind of swings over and throws an elbow, and this runs, and you guys are both free, not currently being grappled, but they are right behind you. Go ahead and make me another dexterity saving throw.
Okay. That is a 18.
In slowing down, you manage to knock that other one away, but the other crowd is right upon you. You and RL running neck and neck, and the infected right behind you. You can almost feel their breath on your neck. We're going to do a contested strength check here as it attempts to grapple you.
Okay, contested strength. Strength check or strength save? Just check.
For a grapple, it's typically a check, right?
Okay.
Isn't it?
That's an 18. If you're saying a save, it's a 20.
Okay, it is with the check, contested check. You feel one kind of grab onto you a little bit, and you just kind of lean forward and rush forward a little bit further, and you feel it kind of fall and almost try to trip you up. Roll me a dexterity saving throw.
A dexterity saving throw?
Yes.
Okay, that's a 17. I rolled a 13.
17 is the DC.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
You kind of trip up a little bit as it kind of claws for your drink that whiskey, girl. Drink that whiskey.
I think I mixed one of the dice I already used. Oh no.
Okay. And you okay. So you actually have I'm actually not gonna
How did my performance do with the guards? Did any of them hear me, or?
you do see rounding the corner, kind of one of the guards kind of peers around out of this alley and sees you running. He kind of bolts back down the alley. As you kind of see him do this, you see some of the herd kind of thinning, splitting off in different directions through the different alleys as some of the main herd has kind of chased after you and RL. Some of them have broken off and kind of done their own little thing, kind of scattering throughout the city.
How close are we to
The guard begins yelling himself. They're in! The walls are breached! They've made it! You hear him kind of run off that way. Yes, I need you to do one last skill check, and I will say you have as many successes as you do failures right now between you and RL. So you have to decide the last thing that you're doing.
This is the last thing. Oh,
The last check, and it better be a good one. I know you're running out of ideas, but get creative. Get creative.
I'm freaking out. I'm so nervous. I don't even know how to think right now.
Let me pull up your character and see if I can help you give ideas.
I kind of want to. I'm thinking RL is probably super light on his feet, right? Like super, super light because he's.
Okay, so some of the obvious ones that you haven't done yet is perception and investigation. Investigation maybe not as much.
Okay, yeah, well, perception to see where.
Perception to like where can we go?
Yeah. Well, I think he's pretty dead set on getting to the Order of Heroes.
Okay.
That's his. He's going back there, but I guess seeing if there's a safer alternative until they can get a clear way to the Order of Heroes. So I'm gonna roll that perception check. That's a 17 plus 3. That's a dirty 20.
Okay. In this intensity, them right behind you, and RL kind of keeping pace almost a little bit faster ahead of you with his kind of lighter frame. He kind of runs, and you see him jut down an alley real quick. And you kind of using your kind of instinct in this intensified moment, just dead set on getting towards the Order of Heroes. That direction seems to make sense. So you run down that same alley that he does, and you see as you round that alley, some of the infected kind of like with their momentum and inability to change direction, some of them kind of like almost fighting against their true human form, kind of slam into the wall at that sharp turn and just kind of pile into each other a little bit, and you get a little bit of distance as you head down this alley and into this. At the end of the alley, you approach this other main street, and you see where that guard was kind of was running down. He runs towards this kind of almost jail or sheriff's office, and you see as the one of the guards within there in a kind of a different, more decorated armor kind of waves you guys into the jail, and this one kind of runs in, and Aurel kind of looks to you and like points in, and then he runs kind of up the side and kind of gets up on top of the roof. You'll be safe in there. I'm going to stay on the roof to make sure everything is okay. And he kind of jumps up to the roof and pulls in. The kind of sheriff kind of leads you in. The horde kind of regathers itself kind of right behind you, and you see as the sheriff is almost ready to shut the door.
I'm gonna dive. I'm gonna do like a, like a sliding into third base, kind of like freaking leap.
Dive in as he kind of slams this really heavy door with like these metal reinforcements, and as soon as you dive in and kind of land on the floor, he slams this door shut. You hear kind of them just kind of pile into the door and slamming in for a moment, and then it stops, and you just hear kind of run off another direction.
Rowan's gonna kind of like flick the blade to kind of turn it off quickly, and then sheath it so nobody sees if it. I mean, I'm sure they thought it was on fire for a second, but he's gonna sheath it and out of breath.
The
Thank you.
kind of sheriff kind of leans up against the wall. So I guess it's happening.
Yeah.
All right.
Rowan's gonna stand up and put his hand out for a handshake. And Rowan, thank you.
Daniel,
do you have access to your roof?
or from inside.
May I? Rowan's gonna kind of try to look for like a way up.
Yeah, kind of looking around. This is kind of like a kind of high security prison, kind of the entrance, but it's nicely kept since that it is in the Rings district. Where are you trying to get to?
The Order of Heroes. Probably the safest bet right now.
Last I heard, they evacuated all the Quarter Crown and the Order of Heroes. They have their secret escape tunnels and all that.
Of course they do. Okay, well. Rowan's gonna be mulling over the idea. Thank God I didn't go to the Order of Heroes. Okay, yeah. Well, that was our bet. To get there to build some sort of fighting force, and Rowan's gonna kind of like turn towards a window to kind of see what the damage is happening outside.
The windows are barred, luckily. You just kind of see in this kind of early morning, late night, within the streets, just kind of every now and then these figures just kind of running to and fro, kind of stalking through the streets, kind of making their way, looking for victims.
Rowan's just gonna get to where the roof is, and he's gonna kind of, like when you're coming down from that adrenaline high, get a little lightheaded.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna brace against wherever the entrance is, and he's gonna put his hand over his mouth and the children, the women, the men, everybody. Just thinking about what that one did to that guard right in front of them.
Are you saying this to the sheriff?
Yeah.
It's tragic. It's terrible. I mean, we'll save as many as we can. But I think we have to get out of here.
Point, and he's gonna kind of like elbow the wall. They left us, and Rowan's just gonna go to the roof, frustrated, to try to find RL.
That's just an assumption. I don't know if they actually left, but I know it's a good bet the Quarter Crown wouldn't stick around. Some of the Order of Heroes would definitely try to make a difference, I know that, but to what end? That seems foolish.
Rowan's just gonna I hope you're right. And he's gonna...
You see him kind of head over to a window, and he kind of peers out. Kind of, oh gods.
What? Rowan's gonna stop what he's doing and go to the window.
You see outside, kind of the dark shapes, you see one of the dark shapes kind of move up to this door and kind of... And you see, after some time, the door opens and some light kind of shines out, and the infected immediately rushes in the door. And you can't hear anything from here, but can kind of assume.
I need to get up there. I need to get to the roof. Rowan's
There's no way from the inside without going outside.
I have somebody on the roof.
Can he
I need to get him in.
take care of himself?
Can, but I don't want to leave him by himself. You understand?
I understand.
Let me at least try to get him in.
Are
Is
you
there a latch?
from the rings?
No. I guess that came from the hands. Or the fingers.
You not from Lake Grasp?
No. You're visiting.
Yeah, good time to visit. There's a lot going on, Rowan.
You have no idea. You have no idea, but we're gonna get through this. We're gonna figure this out, but I need to get
I know we will.
my friend. I need my friend. Is there anybody else in here? Daniel.
Just the other one that got in, but I set him up a cot. He's a bit shook, so I think he just wanted rest.
Let's get this latch open and get him in. His name is RL.
There is no roof latch. What he was saying is that there is no way from the inside to the roof. That's what you're saying. You'd have to go outside and then get up on the roof. There's no, because he climbed up the roof rogue style.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, it's not usually a rooftop hangout kind of thing. I can prepare you some beds if you'd like to bed down here for the night, but I'm not sure if it's going to get better, but
to sleep. Do you have a window on the second floor?
There is no second floor. There's a first floor and then dungeons.
Neat. Okay.
Yeah.
Rowan is going. Oh, no, I don't
Wait,
wanna
that's not
talk
true.
about
There
it.
is a second floor. The second floor is like the offices
Is there a window that I
on
can?
the second floor. There's my office. What do you need?
I want to see about trying to get him through the window. I'm sure he can probably niggle his way in, maybe. Or I can just let him know that we're staying here. Way to communicate.
Right.
I don't think those things can climb, right? I don't
I
think
don't
so.
want to draw too much attention.
No.
Try to be quiet about it. He kind of leads you up to his office. And there's a kind of this large, almost balcony window, kind of. Like a half balcony. You can't necessarily walk out of it, but you could put like planters and stuff there. And he kind of opens that up.
Orel. I'm gonna whisper.
Roll me a stealth check.
Don't hit your puberty mark now, Rowan. It's a 19 plus 2, 21.
So quiet, RL doesn't hear it. I'm just kidding. You just played yourself. No. After some time, you kind of hear like lightly on the roof, kind of like the tiles, and he kind of slings down the side. It is absolutely crazy out here.
I look around the window. Can he kind of fit in? Can he slide on in?
It's kind of small.
Okay. All right. So, do you think you'd be good up there? Have you seen any climb on the roofs at all?
I'm not sure how good they are, but I also don't want to give them any ideas. I imagine from what I can tell, they seem pretty agile. But I don't know if they're this agile. Perhaps some of the roofs are safer than others.
We can try to get you in. Or you get up there. I don't want to leave you by yourself. Unless you got something else to think of. Or you see something we don't.
I think I'll stay up here and keep lookout. Are you good in there?
There's him and one other. Yeah. I think I need to get some rest. And then
You and I both.
And then we'll try to figure out. Daniel and I will kind of work, and we'll keep you in the loop on what we haven't planned.
See if they have any ideas of how to get back over. There's not a whole lot you and I can do alone.
It's also possible that the nobles and the Order of Heroes are probably gone. We don't know. There's a possibility. It might just be us here.
I wouldn't put it past them. Perhaps some of the Order of Heroes are stuck around, but that is foolish bravery, probably. There will be more enemies to deal with eventually.
And we gave them the heads up ahead of time, so they probably a little bit more skittish.
It's true.
I hope that's not the case, but I'm gonna turn to Daniel. I'm gonna leave this open so he can talk to us if needed.
Sounds good. Does he want in?
He says he's gonna stay on the roof. There's really no way for him to get in from here.
I heard you guys want to try to find a way back across to the hands.
Rest first. We need to rest.
Do you know if that's overrun?
He wasn't when we left.
should be fine.
We just need to. I need to rest. He needs to rest. We all rest, and then once we feel good enough, we'll leave first thing, and we'll figure this out. Well, some ideas over. I don't know. Do you have any prisoners? Also, that we need to think about.
Not at the moment. Well, some. Nobody we have to worry about. Unless, they get in.
Make sure they stay safe, too. And Rowan's gonna kind of say, like, hesitantly, nobody deserves to die that way.
Some of these do.
Is it okay if I stay up here? Rowan's gonna kind of lay by the window, just in case Ara wants to talk to him.
I know this is a odd situation. I would prefer if I had my office to myself. It's still trying to keep some semblance of civilization in order.
Sleep outside the door.
That would be fine.
Okay.
There's a lot of private documents in here. We don't even hold meetings in here.
Understood.
It's just a formality.
Ara, if you need anything, if anything happens, Daniel is the sheriff here. Let him know. I'll be right outside the door. Just kind of respect his privacy. And Rowan's gonna kind of like tap, like lightly tap the windowsill and just kind of go back inside. And then back towards the door.
Rowan.
Yeah.
What quiets the loudness of the day?
No idea. What does?
Hopefully we find out soon. There are tunnels that lead from this fortress, the dungeons underneath.
Dungeons.
It is one of the ways we get around between the hands and the fingers even, and the rings. When things like this, God forbid, happen.
Do you... This is... Do you know Mr. Silence?
No. You mean the booze maker?
Booze maker.
Yes,
He's
he's
tall. He's a taller man.
yes.
Just kidding.
I've heard of him. I've not seen him myself.
Peter? He has another name, Peter.
Yes,
Okay.
he's a bit of a businessman, entrepreneur.
I think he's got it in his head that he has prophesized to become a king of a sort, but he thinks this is the way. I think he led. Can Rowan step? Is the dungeons the same as the dungeons that RL and him crawled through, or is it just
Be different.
be different? My only worry.
This would be a different tunnel system that's detached from the sewer system.
Okay.
These are kind of like secret. Just from description, what he's describing, he's saying like tunnels and dungeons
This is,
versus
like,
the
legit.
sewers that you were meant to. Yeah, they are.
You mentioned dungeons, but I thought there's no way that they could get in there, right? This kind of just okay.
They are
Well,
connected to the the Hands Sheriff's Office.
Okay. It's clear way. With us, that'll probably be our bet first thing, but we need to get him in here and get to those tunnels. Maybe we'll do this distraction across the way.
We can manage.
I'm too
We
tired.
might draw attention here. It's worth a try to get him in, safe for the night.
Feel like Briar would kill me if anything happened to her father. All right. What do you have in mind?
It's risky. But, we can just try to make it quick. Open the front door. He drops down. He runs in. We shut it.
I'll be right there. And kind of deter them if needed. I think I feel better about that. But let's I'm gonna go to RL. I know that roof is awfully cozy, but we're gonna get you in. Last thing I need is Briar to be mad at me if anything happened to you. I hope you can understand that.
I think I understand that.
Yeah, I'd much rather deal with the zombies. And he's gonna go to
How would you feel about me going back over alone and coming back for you? I can do so. I can stay on the rooftops and I can jump to the battlements and cross over the same way that we did.
We have tunnels that'll take us straight to the Hands. We probably won't come across any of these things on the way. That's why I kind of want to get you in so we can just take these dungeons straight to the Hands. Get straight back to them.
Oh.
Pipeline.
I hope that's not permanent. He had some storms rolling in. Hopefully. There we go. We're good. Whew. There are. How would I come in?
As soon as you hear us open up the latch door, drop down. You come in quick and we do a switch. Just kind of get you in. We're talking real fast and I'll be right there. If anything tries to grab you, okay.
Kind of over the roof a little bit more. What about him? There's a infected kind of laying down at the front door. Kind of.
I'm gonna. Do you have any more of your little?
I can do that.
Real quick.
Assassin's Creed, this dude.
Make it 3 seconds tops.
Let's risk it.
Yeah.
Well, it's either checks here or checks for him jumping across the roof to get over.
Checks here. Checks here. I don't
He
want.
is a rogue. He
is a rogue, but guess who didn't do too hot in his rolls earlier?
Well, okay. It was one
Guess
failed
you-
acrobatic roll. It was a nat 1, okay?
I'd much rather see
3
him not
checks.
see him. Okay.
Yeah. Those were really high DCs, though, to be fair.
Yeah.
Okay. So how are you doing this?
As we go down, I'm going to talk to Daniel. Okay. So, I mean, does RL understand that basically when he hears the door start to open, he jumps down, we're going to open up the door, and then he just comes in really fast.
Okay.
Did I? But Rowan's going to be there to kind of survival style, kind of with his flame tongue, just kind of push him off if needed.
Do your thing.
Okay. Well, as we're going down, Rowan's gonna talk to Daniel. Once we get him in, we rest. And then once we're fully rested, we go to these dungeons and we get to see the hands. And we let them know what happened. Here. That's the plan.
Good plan.
We need to be quick. You get the door. I'll kind of keep an eye out for anything close. He gets the signal, he hears the door opening, he's gonna drop in, we're gonna close it really fast. We get him in. But, Rowan's... I don't even know if this will work, but I guess this is more of a safety precaution. No. Would Rowan still have his bow with him? Probably not. I think it's still at the freaking... No, he doesn't have it with him. It's at the tavern. Okay, well, Rowan is going to pull out his family blade, Lymel's blade. And he's going to put it in his hand, and he's going to have it at the ready. Kind of be like a guide for... I'm trying to explain it to you. So he opens up the door. Rowan's gonna be on the opening side. And once RL comes in, Rowan's gonna have basically use his sword to kind of swipe any that are right behind him if there's any undead. But
okay.
Rowan apparently is carrying a mess kit. I want to take my cup from the mess kit, and as we throw it, Rowan's gonna throw it to the other side of the alleyway. If there's any, it'll maybe catch its sound.
So you're doing all of this as soon as you open the door?
Oh, it's gonna be fast. It's gonna be fast. It's gonna be fast. Rowan has a sword out. He has the cup out. He's gonna throw the cup as soon as the door opens, and then RL's gonna come in, and hopefully they will be deterred by the sound.
Okay. Roll me a dex check.
Okay. Okay, 14 plus 3, 17.
17. Go time.
Dex check? Nope, 18.
Okay. Go time.
And
First
I'm
things
gonna-
first. You open the door. Right?
I'm gonna look to Daniel. Daniel's opening the door. I'm gonna give him a nod to go.
Daniel opens the door, and it all happens in a blink. As soon as he opens the door, you see running through the streets, kind of this, you kind of hear this clanking, like a guard running past a swarm of them chasing after him, just right outside the door. RL drops down on top of the infected lane in front of the door with the dagger and bolts into the door, and several of the infected chasing after that first guard kind of rush right towards the door. RL jumps in, the door is shut right on the hand of one of the infected.
I'm gonna cut it with
And he kind of slams the door shut.
I'm gonna cut that.
And you kind of hear again. Everybody's like, suspense. Okay. Success.
Does Rowan still have his cup?
RL
Does it-
kind of-
Does it even matter now?
Sure. I guess you saw that and were like froze up a little bit and didn't actually throw the cup because it would have been unnecessary. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry about
The only
that.
beds we have in here are in the cells. There's some of them that we don't even lock, we never use. He kind of looks around and kind of whispers as if to like not let it echo down into the dungeons. The last cell is entrance to the tunnels. It's the last cell at the bottom level. The end. Looks like any other cell, but there's a secret passage. It's going to be our avenue out.
I'm gonna look to RL, who's probably on the ground. I'm gonna go up to him, kind of lean down. Sorry.
Well, at least you're not going to die by briar now.
Yeah. Thank God. Okay. And Rowan's gonna kind of like pat his knees and I guess we'll take the cell. RL, if you want to bunk with me. One of the ones that don't lock specifically.
It is the last one.
Rowan will start walking towards that one.
He kind of leads you down these kind of spiral staircases with these different little small torches that kind of light the way. As you pass by the different cells in this dungeon, you hear different kind of like and as you pass by more cells, just more different kind of sounds of different people, prisoners kept away. Hey, this got no fucking me. Yes, this one. The one kind of you pass by. Oh, you, give me some food. Then Daniel kind of leads you past. Just ignore them. They heckle a lot.
Alright. No be a bother.
You guys make your way down the second set of spiral staircases deeper into the dungeon. A lot more empty down in this one. There's kind of this pale, scrawny figure with like these really beady eyes, kind of like peers in through the torchlight through the bars, kind of just like stares at you guys. You guys pass. And he kind of slinks away into the dark.
Well, as we get further away from him. Yeah. I want to ask what his deal was. Yeah. All right. Can I just make sure he's okay too, Daniel? I just want to make sure, just kind of do like an insight check to make sure he's doesn't seem like a little fidgety. Doesn't feel this seems kind of on our side, kind of a thing. 16 plus 1, 17 for insight. I am rolling. Thank you, dice.
Thank you.
I'm gonna roll that one next time.
He definitely seems unnerved and uneasy. It is a chaotic situation. As far as like sensing any kind of ill will or anything, he seems slightly unsure of you guys to an extent, and it could just be the whole situation. Just like, is he worried that you're infected or anything like that? He's just kind of nervous. And he kind of, as he kind of leads you towards the end, he kind of, this level always gives me the creeps.
Yeah.
It's just that much darker and that much colder and wet. Anyway, here you are.
Thank you. Just to kind of reassure you, him and I haven't been touched by any of these. So, Ron's gonna kind of like show like his extremities that were exposed or could be exposed. No torns, no clothing tears or anything like that. No blood. We'll see you in the morning, Daniel. We'll get out of here. And then Rod's gonna kind of go into the cell and roll down his bedroll.
Arel kind of jumps up to the top bunk there and kind of like leaps up, does like a somersault and lands like, I think I'm getting old and slow in my old age. Did you see me stumble on those barrels out there? Like a moment of need, of course I fucked that up, right?
Alright.
Ooh, that was close.
Yeah. My heart stopped. I'm glad we weren't that far apart. But still got a lot to learn from you. So Ron's gonna kind of pat the top of his bed and kind of lay down in his bedroll. And Daniel didn't lock the gate, right? No, he can't lock it, right?
As you bed down, you hear and you look up and you see Daniel kind of holding the bars there. A night of silence. He walks away. Arel doesn't even look up. He just kind of... What the fuck?
Okay.
You hear kind of down the hall as Daniel kind of walks down a little bit. What quiets the loudness of the day? A night of silence. You hear him walk back up.
He works with that guy.
And with nothing else to do, you can complete a rest if you would like.
I have to. I have to rest. I have to sleep. Might as well just take it in.
It is kind of a tossy and turny night and kind of disturbed, and you kind of hear every now and then the kind of grumbles and grunts of that white figure they had seen, kind of just kind of laughs across the opposite end of the dungeon. As you kind of come to, as far as you can tell, is the morning, as you feel a little bit more rested, a little bit of a tossy turny night. I will say you completed a long rest.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
You see Arel kind of, I needed that. He kind of rolls over out of bed, and kind of reaches in his pocket and walks over to the door. You see him kind of mess with it a little bit.
All right. So while he's doing it.
Slams it open. Well, let's say we get back over to the hands.
Yep. Do we want to go on there? I'm going to point down to, he said where the next room would be the entrance to the dungeon, right?
He took you into the one that would be the entrance of the dungeon, or the supposed tunnel.
Huh.
You can look for it if you want.
I'm gonna try to see if there is this.
Yeah, roll an investigation check.
As quietly as possible too, so he doesn't hear us, or we accidentally wake up Mr. Crazies and maybe alert him. I don't know why I rolled 2. Investigation?
Mm-hmm.
An 11.
11. Kind of feeling the surface of the wall, you kind of touch almost every single stone, and nothing seems to give. Nothing seems to like push in like you would expect, like a hidden wall. You're just kind of like, see, it feels like a solid wall. And Aurel kind of feeling along the same way. He's kind of like, I don't think he was honest with us. I think we should go teach him a lesson about honesty. And he holds up a dagger.
No, I'm with you on that one. Let's go. And then Rowan's gonna pull out his swords and.
You see, as you guys kind of walk past, the kind of figure peers through the bars. Kind of just claps. You see him kind of like pace around in his room, clapping to himself.
You could let him have him.
I don't think anybody would want to see that. Ugh.
Alright, let's go. Let's go get him. Rowan's gonna.
You guys kind of work your way up the dungeons, and kind of as you do come to the first floor, the main level, a little bit of light does shine in from the very early morning, and you see Sheriff Daniel kind of peeking through the bars, looking outside.
Quietly, Rowan is gonna try to grapple him and kind of
Roll me a stealth check.
I would assume RL would do the stabby stabs. Okay. So that is a 13 plus 4, so that's a 17.
Easy enough. You get up, and just as you get like real close, he kind of like starts to turn like he's hearing something, and then he like turns, and you kind of slam him against the wall and have him grappled now. I'll actually even say restrained for this, because you kind of caught him by surprise.
Rowan's gonna kind of, good morning, and kind of.
Aurel kind of flipping the knife. Good morning. We looked, but we never saw any kind of tunnel. Could you show us, perhaps? And Daniel's yes, I can show you. It's very hard to find. I think we might have to find another way around, Rowan. I don't think he's been fully honest with us.
I think you might be right, RL. That'll be a shame. Can you give him a quick shave for me?
I'll give him the closest shave he's ever had in his life.
You better tell the truth, because he's pretty good at this. And then Rowan's gonna kind of just push his head against the wall.
He pushes his head against the wall, and Aurel comes up with the dagger, like right under his cheek, like as where you're kind of pressing. Daniel's like, okay, there's no tunnel. There is no tunnel. I made that up. You passed. You failed the test. You didn't know the secret answer. It's what I had to do.
Well, because of you guys. And Rowan's just gonna kind of slide him to the window and show him, this is on you.
I know it is.
Yeah. Well. Rowan's gonna just nod to RL.
Aurel kind of sticks it in slowly, and Daniel kind of and Aurel kind of stops for a second. What is the point of all this? Daniel kind of it's prophecy. It's to bring forth the new order. It's necessary. Aurel kind of looks at you. Sticks it all the way in. Daniel collapses to the ground lifeless.
That guy that's sleeping in the bed dead?
The guy that's sleeping in the bed,
The other one that he said?
he is. When you go over and inspect, you see that his throat has been slit in the middle of the night.
The roof. Is a better idea.
Told you.
Rowan's gonna kind of.
Are you feeling limber? We might have to make some jumps.
Rowan's gonna start stretching. Now or never. Let's go.
Now. He kind of jaunts over to the door, swings it open, looks around. It's quiet. For the moment. It's quiet in the immediate vicinity, but as you kind of like listen closer, you hear kind of like off in the distance, and you see different doors of different houses kind of like either opened or busted in. Some of the windows are broken. Through the roof. He kind of does this little rogue thing and climbs up. He kind of like leans down to kind of give you a hand so you can make it like partial of the way.
Rowan's gonna try to attempt to do what he did to kind of really.
Roll an
come
acrobatics
into
check.
it.
Really high
Rowan's
DC. You can try. You can try.
Rowan's gonna try because he's an elf. He should be able to try some. That's cocked. That's straight up cocked.
Okay.
Okay. Well, acrobatics. So that's 11 plus 6 is 7. 17.
17?
Yeah.
With the 17, you, with all the confidence in the world, run up, almost do like this partial wall run, try to grab onto the ledge, and you kind of just like tap the rim of it and start to slide back down, and RL grabs your hand and kind of hoists you up the rest of the way. Very good. For someone your size, very impressive.
Yeah, I'm trying to embrace the little elf in me, I guess. Rowan's gonna gesture him to lead the way because rooftops are not his thing.
I wonder how our friends are doing. And my family.
Rowan is gonna get really sad because he feels nothing was accomplished.
You learned a lot of things. You learned a lot of things. It'll be very helpful.
Yeah. And to the hands we go.
Okay. Let us go back to doing some checks. Roll me an acrobatics check. You come to the first roof, kind of a good little distance, a pretty easy kind of hop across.
It's a good thing that Rowan's highest skill is acrobatics. So. That is a dirty 20. 14 plus 6.
Okay. Easy enough. You kind of run to the next roof. Roll me a stealth check on top of that.
See, 7 plus 4, math 11.
11. You kind of overcompensate and slam hard on the tiles of the next roof, and you kind of hear one of the infected kind of alerts another group, like 3 of them. You see them kind of duck away down into this alley, almost like heading you off. Roll me another acrobatics check.
Natural 20.
Natural 20. Easy
Plus
enough.
6
This is a
is
larger
26.
gap. You jump across it, and you see as you jump this little alley, you see those few infected kind of cross that alley, almost still heading you off. Roll me another acrobatics check.
Wish I would have brought my bow with me. 18. So 24.
18, you come to the last roof before the battlements. The battlements being the big jump from the rooftop.
It's 24, just to clarify. Just
24.
18 plus 6. 24.
You see as this last roof, the infected that have been kind of running parallel alongside you, kind of climb up these crates to this last one. Now are about to be on the roof, same roof that you're on. You need to make this jump from the roofs to the battlements. A high DC. RL needs to make this jump too. Dave, what dice did you give me? What dice did you make?
Colson, before
Yep.
we do it,
Yep.
and those grenades,
Uh-huh.
can I toss one right at one?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
Just to kind of deter, if anything, if that
Okay.
lowers the DC.
So roll me a d20 for like a ranged attack. This would be basically how close it gets to where they are.
So that is a 13 plus whatever.
Dex. Throw dex in there. Dex modifier.
So Dex. Dex modifier would be 4. 17 plus 4.
Or actually it would be strength, wouldn't it? For a throw, typically it's strength, isn't it? Yeah. Add your strength. 13 plus
30.
your strength modifier.
13 plus 4, so 7. 13 plus 3, 16, sorry. 16.
17, you see them climbing up. You go to run to jump across to the battlements, but you pull out, throw this bomb. Lands kind of right at the edge of where they're climbing up. I'm going to do this with disadvantage on my saving throws because they're climbing up. That's a little bit compromised. Okay. They do not succeed. The blast of it kind of sends them back down to down the roof that they were climbing up. So they're now back on the ground level of the alley, getting back up from prone. RL rolled a natural 1 on his acrobatics check. He's a rogue! But he has a lot of plus. Does that account for anything?
Cop, reliable talent.
That's an age-old question. What do the Nats do?
What do the Nats do?
Does he ever reliable talent?
What was your roll on the wait, you didn't roll your acrobatics check.
I haven't rolled it. I wanted to throw the grenade to see if maybe that lowered the DC for both of us, since we're not like as stressed to get to the other side, if you can justify that reasoning a little bit.
Yep. I can for you, but RL's just so stressed.
So acrobatics, so that is 9 plus 6. I don't know, whatever the
15.
15. Yeah, 15. We didn't make it.
You see as RL kind of fidgeting with something as he's about to jump, and you see him kind of almost fall off the roof. He didn't jump early enough, and you that catches your attention, and you're like, are we changing direction? You kind of hesitate on your jump and run and leap and kind of just slam into the battlements and kind of claw up, but can't reach the top there. First of all, from that height, go ahead and subtract 2 HP of bludgeoning as you fall.
Okay.
And you see as RL kind of rolls as he lands and then throws a grapple hook over to the battlements, and then immediately kind of like dead sprint from his roll starts grabbing the rope and running up the wall with the okay, come on, don't fail another acrobatics check. Okay, we're good. And just kind of like almost running up the wall with like in a rappel style, and some of the infected round the corner.
I'm gonna follow him really
Go ahead and do the
fast.
same thing. Roll me an acrobatics check as they run right up to you.
That is a 19. 13 plus 6, 19.
It is a 19. Not quite as efficient kind of running up, but you kind of hoist yourself up with your strength. Roll me a dexterity saving throw.
Come on, Ducky. Save me. Ducky saved me! Nat 20!
Let's go! One goes to grab your boot, you just kind of kick it in the face, and it kind of falls prone as you finish climbing up, and you feel kind of safe as you're kind of climbing up. RL kind of begins to pull up the rope to prevent them from grabbing on, but one of them grabs onto the last little bit of rope that's still on there and begins to climb up towards you. Hopefully the last dexterity saving throw. This is a lot of rolls for Rowan, my goodness.
I've actually, I think I threw one, I did throw one back in here. So I've rolled 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12,
This might be
14,
the most
15,
dice rolled session
16,
we've had, and we're not even at the half
16.
yet.
I rolled 16 d20s. That's fine. So probably maybe one or two more. But Rowan is going to get over and kind of yank that rope and fling it back over the side and just kind of.
What did you roll on your dexterity saving throw?
It was a nat 20 with the ducky, and
Yes.
then with the dex on top of it's 24. So.
Okay.
Is there another dex?
No.
Am I
There was
rolling another
the
one?
last dexterity saving
there's
throw
another one.
as they grab onto the last bit of rope to continue to
Oh.
climb up with you.
Oh well, that is a 10.
The lighter frame of this infected kind of begins to not climbing on the rope, now climbing up your leg. What would you like to do?
I mean, I'd like to try to get it off, like try to kick it or just kind of elbow it, just like he saw RL do earlier. His little maneuver thing that he did. And maybe try to like inertia swing it off at the same time. I don't.
Let's roll contested
Anything to
strength
try to
checks. You should be good. You got this. +5?
Yeah. Okay. He's got a +5 too.
No, you do.
Oh no. Oh, this strength saving. Okay.
This dice.
Okay. I rolled a 9. If we're doing saving, it's a 19.
No,
22.
check.
Yeah, 22. It's only 3.
You go to kick it, and it holds onto your leg. You kind of shake your leg a little bit and go to kick it, and just shaking it, your leg kind of it falls. I rolled a nat 1 again. And now out of reach, on top of the battlements, you have made it. Finally.
I thought I made it. I was like, okay, I rolled it at 20. I'm good.
Okay, I made it. I'm good.
Doesn't get me through it. I'm gonna,
This is why you don't mess with the horde, guys. Do you get it? Are we clear? Are we clear?
Rowan's gonna be shaking. Adrenaline.
Okay.
Let's
say we go back to Sleeping Moon. I would really like to check on our people.
Yeah, let's go. Rowan's gonna get his bearings and follow RL.
You guys make your way through the street and kind of peering around to see if there's any signs of infection within the hands walls. Doesn't appear to be. And the guard presence is nearly minimal too. It seems that they're preoccupied. You find your way to the Sleeping Moon after several minutes of travel. What are you doing?
Go to the back.
Balcony.
Yeah, the balcony and climb to the balcony.
You arrive to the balcony and you see kind of these tied together moon cloth rope that is descended from the balcony. RL kind of looks at you. He kind of climbs up real quick, jumps in.
Following right behind him.
You guys make your way down, and RL kind of like makes it to the top of the steps and kind of like peers down and listens. Then he hears kind of Coria and Siora kind of joking with each other, and just kind of hears like a laugh here and there, and he kind of looks at you and then heads down. And you see the several Naramin figures tied up, so like same way that you had seen, or same way that Asher had seen when he visited. And Siora kind of peers over at you guys. Good to see you.
And
Or I'll
Rowan's
kind
just gonna go up and give.
comes like walks over to Siora this way and just kind of like scoops her up and gives her a hug. You would not believe the night I had. Oh, I can believe it. I've heard the many tales of the nights you've had. I've been a part of some of them. I know, and he kind of kisses her along the face. Did anybody else come by? Yes, Zagia speaks up. Not long ago, Asher was here. Kind of checked in on us. That was probably an hour ago or so. I think they are onto something over there at Amansar's.
All right, well, maybe I should get. I need to get back. And Rowan's gonna kind of go up and give a hug to Zagia and make like thankful that she's okay because there they are.
She's kind of like surprised, kind of taken back by your just affection. She's like, "Thank you.
Glad you're okay." Those things, you guys. I had a feeling you guys were watching.
You talking? Is he talking to?
I'm talking to the
Naramine.
Yeah.
They're kind of bound and gagged, and kind of the head figure one kind of just looks up at you.
Get
Again,
comfy.
no aggression or violence in their eyes, just kind of calm, kind of this peaceful look.
Do they? No. I'm gonna go and try to find Ace and Dom, Asher, and Briar. Curran. And Rowan's gonna remember that he has the necklace. I'll be in touch. Rowan's gonna tuck it away, and
If
he's
you're
gonna
going
show
to be
it
with, you're going to be with Asher, you could just give it back to him.
Yeah, I will. Don't worry. It's his. And then Rowan's gonna kind of jog upstairs and then kind of just wave to RL and
Aurel kind of gives you a salute. You make your way back to the party, traveling through the streets again. Kind of a lot of the guard presence kind of preoccupied, it seems, at the moment. As you arrive, finally, back to the party. Same time period.
We are.
As you show up, you see the familiar figure of Mr. Silence ascending the ladder and taking his position on the battlements. And you see the rest of your party kind of assessing the damage that's just been done. You see the bodies piled up at the front gate. And we're going to take a break.
That was stressful.
Okay.
I'm honestly,
Pastor would like to go back to the hands or to the rings.
I got lightheaded a couple times. When I said
Mhm.
Rowan got lightheaded, that was me.
That was
also
me.
That was
Were
me
you
also
nervous?
getting lightheaded.
Were you nervous?
Well, I'm
That was me.
thankful-
I was Rowan.
I'm thankful I listen to my dice. I will say that. And I
Kept swapping them out.
except for the one, I think my lowest low was like a 7. It was a 13, and it was a 7. I was like, well,
Yeah,
need to
that
have
stealth check.
I need to have a talk with DM Dave. I think he cheated my dice to make it roll nat ones all the time. Because Arel. What
Thanks,
the
know.
heck?
Dave.
Where's your puzzle dice?
1, 2, 4, 16, 18. Okay, it's making me a liar. Nat 20. Okay. It's just random.
Now you're just burning
It's
them
just
all out.
random. 18.
Number
One.
generator.
When you start telling the story, just scream one.
One. Yeah.
My dad.
Arel, what the heck, dude? What the
Aw.
heck, man?
there were so many times I'm like, fuck, what am I gonna say to Briar? Fuck, what am I gonna say to Briar? So I was like, I was
trying to
gonna-
survive. I was
gonna jump down regardless, so I'm glad I kind of failed my roll. I was gonna jump down regardless, and I wouldn't leave RL.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. I need
That's
to
okay. It
sleep.
worked out. It was just, a couple failed saves away from death. No big deal. No big deal. It's fine.
Anxiety.
Anxiety. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. We're going to do the thing. We're going to take a break. We'll be back here in... How long do we want?
8, 10? 8, 10?
10?
10 minutes.
Oh, yes. 8, 10 Eastern time. So we'll take 15 minutes. We'll be back. Love you guys.